So, to recap briefly, very briefly, we've got the gods who live in the gods. We've got the Duchess of New Hampshire. She has just made a deal with Triplicles, god of temples and confusion, to build his church in exchange for extended life, very long life, which he gets by copulating with the god of temples and confusion while he presses the bone from the god of time into her chest. The god of time died, and Campago Religeti retrieved the bones, went back to New Hampshire, where he was a groundskeeper. Now, here we are. It's a couple years later, and guess what? The Duchess is pregnant. What? A couple years later, pregnant? Yes, because she's on slow time. With the god of time, now the rest of her people in her community, they don't have any knowledge whatsoever of this slow time, fast time, uneven time, even time stuff. It just feels the same to them. But for her, she has the bone of the god of time in her, and that means she is timed to whatever location she's at. If she were to move right now into a very fast-moving time land, then she would wither away and age very quickly and then die. So she knows she has to stay in New Hampshire, but that's cool. She's fine with that. And she figures she's got 1,000 years maybe to live. So at the moment, though, she's uncomfortable. She's gravid with child. She has an infant in her stomach. And as a consequence, she's lying around one day, feeling uncomfortable. And she lies down on her bed when who should appear but Triplicles again. She's not happy to see him. She indicates right away, look, hey, what are you here for? And he's like, you got to build the church. She's like, fine. That it? And he's like, not quite. You're pregnant. And she's like, yeah, so I'm going to kill it when it's born. And he's like, no, you're not. She's like, yeah, I am. And he said, well, you know what? You do what you're going to do, but remember, you're talking to a god here. So she's like, okay. Anyway, she's like, okay, well, is that it? And do I have your permission to kill the child? And he says, you don't have. I'm not forbidding it, but I'm just saying. And then she's like, okay. What else? He's like, there's one more thing. Yeah, I need you to set up a contest for carvings. She's like, why? Because the guys want you to do it. That's it. Fine. What do I have to do? Here's paper. Pass it out. You provide the gold to reward the person. You're going to provide a handsome reward to encourage people to enter this. She's like, fine. And Triplicles leaves. She does this whole contest thing, right? Well, meanwhile, still on the grounds, there's the now older Campago Religeti and his nearing teenage years son, Rigoberto Religeti. And Rigoberto is busily carving away, and he carves. No, wait, this isn't Rigoberto. I'm sorry. This is the third Religeti. This is, I forget his name. We'll call him Campago Jr. Campago Jr. is Luciano Religeti, right? Luciano Religeti is carving, and actually Luciano I think might have been the first one. Regardless, it doesn't matter. One of those Religetis is carving and stuff around his dad, and what happens is he knows he's got to go start doing his groundskeeping jobs pretty soon. He doesn't really want to do it. He doesn't like to work like that. He likes to play. But he's pretty diligent though, person, and he's not totally flaky or anything. And then lo and behold, what should happen? But he gets the flyer for the contest. He enters this thing. Of course, weeks pass, doesn't anything, and of course he wins. He gets the gold, and he's told then He's given back his carving. It's a carving of a dragon. And he's told, all right, now, your job now. Here's your gold. And Luciano goes and puts it in the cupboard in his house. He's worried about it. It's going to be missing when he gets back. But of course, the Duchess isn't going to steal the gold back. She doesn't care. She's pregnant, so she's not comfortable. Anyway, so again, she says, well, Luciano, you got to go wait out in the fields over there, on the edge of New Hampshire, on the edge of my estate here in New Hampshire. He's like, why? He says, well, because when you do, you wait there until you see the Villa of the Gods, and then you go in it and you give this thing as a gift to High Lord Acutron. And he's like, well, what if it doesn't come? Or she's like, I don't want to hear any more excuses. Now, look, what time is it? She looks around at the sky. She's like, it's getting pretty dark. Okay, well, you can still make it out there for 5 minutes at least. So you walk the mile over there. You go and you stand there and wait 5 minutes until it's completely dark. And you know that the villa's not, you're not going to be able to see the villa anyway. Then you can come back. But at least get in 5 minutes of work today on this. And he's like, okay, yes, Duchess, no problem. She just gave him a fat sack of gold, And she walks away, and then he just turns right around and goes back home. He's not going to actually go out there. He's like, let's do it in the morning, he figures. So he does exactly that. In the morning, he wakes up, packs up a step. He goes out to the field. He waits there. He's bored. He falls asleep. When he wakes up and he opens his eyes, there's the villa right in front of him. Sorry, it must have come when he was falling asleep. And he goes inside of it, and he walks down through the villa just as his father had before him. He walks through the foyer, and he finds this bar in the very back. And he goes in there and he sees two men sitting in there, and one of them is the god Pre-Creator, and the other is High Lord Acutron. And the Pre-Creator says, Luciano. Is that your name? Or, no, yeah, I'm sorry, he says, Campago, you're back. And Luciano says, well, actually, it's me. I'm not Campago, I'm his son, I'm Luciano. And then Acutron looks up and says, the second man from New Hampshire. Because this is what the prophecy said. When the god of time had died by falling off the plateau, there was mention then of a prophecy. But baby Lady Babe was present, and she didn't know about the prophecy. She wasn't yet elevated to godhood when the prophecy had been made. She is the only god that was one of, she's the only god that attained godhood from the ranks of the mortals. So anyway, the prophecy basically said it's just going to happen when the New Hampshire guys come around. So here's the second guy from New Hampshire, and Acutron says, fine, let me see this gift you have for me. And Curtis is like, not Curtis, Pre-Creator's like, we really don't have any choice. It's prophecy. You can't avoid it. And so Acutron grabs the gift, and of course it's a carving of a wooden dragon. And it turns him into a dragon, and this is very frustrating to Acutron, of course, because he is the maker of quality objects, and he needs his hands, but now he's got claws, and he could be stuck with that forever. It's hard to say. And so he slaps his now wooden dragon tail on the floor, and off come a couple of big scales, or medium scales, from his wooden dragon body. And of course, the other problem he has is he can never use his breathe fire power because he just light himself on fire. Anyway, what was I saying? Alright, so then Luciano gets a couple of scales from Acutron, takes them back to New Hampshire, and now he's got them there. And successfully now has the Duchess provided the required task for Acutron, for Interrupter of Eccles, and in the process has gotten Acutron turned into a wooden dragon. This is why the other gods aren't necessarily that fond of Interrupter of Eccles, but they're not really sure it's him who did it this time. It's hard to say. Even though he was the messenger, it's hard to say for sure. They're not that mad at him is the point, I guess. Stay tuned for part 3 of my telling of this book.